Hey guys, it's Sade, the artist behind Sadie Saves the Day, and today I'm really excited to bring you a video about Schmincke's special edition paints. They were announced just in February at Creative World and they are extremely limited, and I managed to snag all three colors in the collection. They are made of semi-precious pigments, so kind of similar to Daniel Smith's Primatech paints. They only come in 5 milliliter tubes, and I'm not really sure if there's any retailers in the US that have them. The first color is red Opal Light. The next color is green Porphyry. And the last color is Lapis Lazuli. These colors have a little extra information tag on them, and that's basically giving a little bit of a health warning about the preservatives that are used in these paints. But it's actually not just in these paints, it's on all Schmincke paints. They use a certain fungicide. So first up, red Opal Light. This paint is extremely low tinting strength. It feels like there is more binder than pigment. I'm almost certain there's more binder than pigment. It's kind of frustrating to work with this because I had to squeeze out so much just to do this review. And you can see already that there are actually just chunks in the paint. It's not like granulating, it's straight up grainy. It doesn't travel very much. And the mass tone is pretty weak. All of these paints are kind of strange in texture because they have so much binder to pigment ratio. They're a lot thicker and gummier than your normal watercolors. So this is the one that I would say if you want to get one of the colors, get the Lapis Lazuli. It's really pretty. The tinting strength is obviously not the same as modern pigments, but considering what it is, I'm pretty happy with it. And the granulation or the flocculation, whatever it is, it's just so pretty. Just like the other ones, the dispersion is not very high, but it's a pretty decent mass tone. I think I'd use this for like little tiny special effects moments. It's kind of cool to have this because ultramarine is supposed to be a synthetic version of this pigment, and you can definitely see it. I think most people's ultramarines are not quite as purpley as this one. This is definitely a pretty purple lapis, and you can see why the synthetic ultramarines has this granulation that's trying to do the same thing as this one. Next is green Porphyry. It's green earth. This is not a super rare pigment. I think that Ame and Eve both have a paint in their lines called Celadonite, and I'm pretty sure that this is the exact same pigment. By the way, I don't know for sure, but Kramer has all of these pigments except for the red opalite, and they used to have this red opalite from Arizona. So I think that these are sourced from Kramer pigments. The Lapis Lazuli is not the highest grade lazuli, but it's a pretty good grade. I just wanted to show you the tinting strength of these paints. The first line is just, if after you let it dry, you try to paint with it, nothing comes out. It's just colored water. But then the second line is if you scrub at it a bit, then you get a bit more color. But then if you let it sit for about 5 minutes with water on it, this is what you get. It's much more full and pigmented. But if you have just a little more of a bit of patience, you can definitely put these in pans. And then just for comparison, this is them with the paint straight out of the tube. So the intensity is not that different. Or if you want, you can also put a little bit of glycerin or honey into your pans before you let them set up. You can see how rocky these are. Like, if you actually put your finger on them, you can feel them on the paper. Except for the lapis, I think that one is pretty smooth. But the red opalite is basically like sandpaper. So I'm doing a little mixing chart just to see what the range of colors that you can get from this mixture are. I wasn't really sure what was going to happen with these colors, if they were going to mix normally. or not. And they are a little surprising, but not really. So when you mix the red Opal Light and the ultramarine, what you get is a really dull purple. Which makes sense because the red Opal Light is a sort of orangey red. You can mix it basically to get just like a perfect gray, depending on what you want. But it's very gummy and you need a lot of the red Opal Light because it has such a low tinting strength. And if you mix the red Opal Light and the green porphyry, you get a brown. Yeah, I'm just showing you just like how much medium is in that. It's just absolutely crazy. I don't even know. At some point in time, I think binder was just gushing out of the tube. You actually get a pretty blue-green if you mix the blue and the green porphyry. So now I'm going to do a little color wheel with the same colors. Definitely out of all of these colors, the one that didn't frustrate me all the time was the lapis, because the red Opal Light, I felt like I wanted to throw it out of the window at some point in time. I was just not able to get any color out of that. Yeah, this is a toothpick from trying to stir up the tube. It looks really nice on the toothpick. Doesn't look so nice on the paper. I wish I could get that kind of intensity on the paper. What I like is that when you mix the lapis with anything else, it gets the same granulation pattern. So these mixtures between lapis and the green porphyry are really, really pretty. All of these colors are extremely easily lifting. All you have to do is scrub it a little bit, and I think you can go straight back to the white of the paper. I think that's because of how much binder there is instead of pigment. It's pretty difficult to get any of these colors to go very dark since they don't have very good pigmentation. So you just kind of get a bunch of mid-range tones, not a lot of value range. And layering then doesn't really give you a ton of depth either. The brown that's made with the red Opal Light and the green porphyry is actually pretty nice. It looks like dirt, but you'd have to use so much all the time. It's not worth it, especially since these tubes only come in 5ml tubes and they're pretty expensive. And of course, who knows if you would be able to get it again. There's lots of other ways to mix a brown. This is just a close-up of all of the colors mixed together. You can see all of that texture that I was talking about. It's a really earthy palette, kind of like Old Master's Field, which is nice. I love the pattern in the lapis. It's really beautiful. So what I decided to do is paint something that was mostly blue, because I was trying to minimize my frustration. So I decided to paint a blue iris. And even with that, it was very much an exercise in frustration because these colors do not layer very well. They have a very big tendency to become muddy. I think this first layer in a way has like the most purity and lightness. I feel like the way that I would like to use these is if I had basically already done my underpainting in a modern pigment and then just put this on top to make like this kind of ethereal texture. But since it's so easy to lift, your lines and marks can come off very easily. It reminds me a lot of when I was painting with the Old Holland paints and I was having that lifting problem. This is on Fabriano Artistico cold pressed 100% cotton, by the way. So like I said, it was very, very difficult to get darks. And without darks, it's very difficult to get any kind of definition in your forms. I was trying the best I could. I mixed up a purplish color and I was using that to try to map out the shapes in the iris. Even though I was really frustrated with this whole process, there is something to be said about the kind of effect that comes off. I don't really know how to explain it. It's kind of delicate and dusty and gentle. But even though I was really not feeling this painting session, I didn't hate the end result. Although I don't know if I'd want to put myself through trying to paint this again because it just felt like it was taking such a long time because I was fighting with my supplies the entire way. As you can see now, I'm putting a bit more of the lapis and it looks a little better, but it doesn't really get very much darker, and it's kind of just lifting up the layers that are underneath. I used my synthetic brushes for this painting because the paints are so rocky I didn't want to risk damaging my natural hair brushes, and that seemed to work fine. See, when you look at it like this, you might think, oh, that orange is actually really pretty, but is it worth it? Think to yourself, is it worth it? So I mixed up a sort of blackish color with all three pigments, and I applied it really heavily. I tried to dilute it as little as possible, and that finally allowed me to get some darks in here to get some definition. You can see I have them on the swatches to the left there. It's really more just like a gray or neutral tint, but at least it worked for what I wanted it to do. At this point, it got a little less frustrating because I finally felt like I was getting somewhere. I might have gone a little too overboard with the gray though. Then what I decided to do was, since I can lift out so easily, just lift out a few more whites to bring back a bit of that lightness. I feel like in the end it kind of has the mood of a vintage botanical painting or something like that. So in the end, should you get these? I guess if you're a completionist and you have the money, sure. I don't really think that it is something that everybody needs to have in their palette. I think that they're really pretty. I think they can be both fun and frustrating to work with. And I think the lapis is a good buy. I recommend buying the lapis. The green earth you can get in a lot of different brands, but the lapis is something unique. Daniel Smith has one, but I'm not really sure how that compares with this one. I'd like to compare it in the future. And the red Opal Light can stay where it is. You don't need to get that one. I'm still really excited that Schmincke is trying different things with their line. I know that they just added a bunch of new modern colors, and then they added a bunch of metallic colors. I feel like they're trying a lot of different things. This is them trying out the sort of Primatech thing. I don't know how successful that was, but they're trying it out, and it was interesting seeing what their explorations resulted in. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Talk to you next time. Bye!